Guys, what is going on? It has been a long time since I've done a video on this channel. As you all know, I was on vacation in Bermuda, had a wonderful time, and it is just great to be back. Did not have a chance to catch Raw and SmackDown last week, and I'm kind of glad that was the case because I heard they were rather boring and uninspiring for the most part. So hopefully, very shortly, this product will pick up because right now, to me, it's just been... the wheels have been spinning. Ever since the Superstar shakeup, I felt which has done more harm than good for the product. I mean, the ratings were record lows this past week, and I can't say I blame people for not watching. Like I mentioned myself, come back, really all that I checked out between Raw and SmackDown, between a total of 5 hours of programming, was a 15-minute kick-ass segment between Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe, but that just simply is not enough, and it shouldn't be acceptable. I mean, the talent is there. I would just really like to see the creative aspect of the product improve, because really there's just a lack thereof at the moment. But the point of this video is going to be my full thoughts and opinions, the breakdown of last night's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Money in the Bank emanated last night from St. Louis, Missouri, and I have to say a mixed bag for the pay-per-view in my opinion. I thought it started off good. We had 2 good matches, and then we ended with a really good match there at the end with the, of course, self-entitled Money in the Bank ladder match. So the men's and women's matches were good. The men's Money in the Bank match was my pick for match of the night. Just really great stuff there. And then, of course, I enjoyed the tag team match between the New Day and the Usos. But the rest of the show, it was just kind of there. Especially that middle half... don't really know what to say. It was just kind of blasé. It wasn't really doing too much for me, like I said. So overall, an average show. Like I said, just for me, the product, it really ain't doing it for me right now. You know what I'm really excited about? The fact that my Pittsburgh Penguins are the 5-time Stanley Cup champions. Now that's something I can get excited about. But unfortunately, now we'll pick out the positives because there were positives on this show. But like I said, seen better from SmackDown, and I know they can do better. So let's talk about the pre-show real quick. The Colognes versus the returning Hype Bros. Zack Ryder returned from injury this past Tuesday on SmackDown, apparently, and they had this match here with the Colognes on the kickoff show. Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley hit the Hype Rider for the win on the Colognes. So not really too much to say here. I don't know if they're possibly teasing a breakup between the Hype Bros, but that is something that we'll have to watch and see for in the weeks to come. Maybe a split, maybe not. I don't know who you would turn heel in that situation, who would benefit more in that role. I'm thinking perhaps maybe Mojo, maybe see him play the heel role. I don't know, just him as a babyface right now. It's not really doing much for me. Was never really the biggest fan of Mojo Rawley, but he did win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, and we all saw how well that worked out for him. So, yeah, that's just something to take note, to keep an eye on, maybe if the Hype Bros ever split up. Let's get into the actual card itself, though. We kicked off with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Carmella versus Tamina versus Natalya. I thought really all the women in this match shined very nicely, whether it was Becky Lynch or Natalya. Charlotte, I thought, had a number of good spots in this match, with the spinning corkscrew moonsault. This was a big test for the women, their first ever, I believe, ladder match stipulation in WWE. And the fact that, you throw these women who you knew were going to just go to the lengths that they went to. And, I know people crapped on the finish, but I actually was a fan, kind of going against the grain here, but I actually liked the way that the finish played out here, and I'm going to explain that. The reason was, so it came down to the end towards Becky Lynch. She started to climb the ladder. James Ellsworth knocked Becky Lynch off the ladder, and he climbed to the top of the ladder, and he was teasing, grab the briefcase. Is he going to grab the briefcase? Is he not going to grab the briefcase? He grabs the briefcase, and throws it down to Carmella and essentially hands her the Money in the Bank. It's something that I don't think we've ever seen before in a Money in the Bank ladder match. A lot of people were griping over the fact that, well, a man essentially pulled down the briefcase in the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And yes, you can look at it that way, and kind of say the finish could have been better, but I think the way that the finish went about was that it did put heat on Carmella for, eventually being declared the winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match, and she did win, albeit in hokey fashion. But she was getting a decent amount of heat from that, and I think as a heel, if you're gonna cheat to win, and that's the way you win, so be it. Carmella was my pick to win that match, and like I said, there were a number of good spots in this match. The women utilized the ladder very well. Nobody really got, looked like they got hurt too severely. Didn't hear anything coming out of the pay-per-view, so that was a worry, a concern of mine. How would their bodies hold up? And they held up just fine, so I think this will be the first in, it'll now be an annual tradition for the women to compete in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Like I said, I know people griped about the finish, but I really didn't take too much issue in that fact, due to the fact that it does put the heat on Carmella for winning the Money in the Bank match in that fashion. And the fact that it was announced that Daniel Bryan will be returning to SmackDown this Tuesday to make an announcement about, the women's Money in the Bank situation. So, obviously, they're going to play this up on TV, and we'll have to see how this plays out in the week and weeks to come. This was a really solid tag team match between the Usos and the New Day. I said going into this, I like the fact that the role reversal happened. Last time these two feuded, and it was the New Day were the heels, the Usos were the faces. But when you flip the roles, and they just feel so much more natural. The New Day, a team you can instantly get behind and like. The Usos just being really vicious and, arrogant and acting like this is their yard and nobody can come close to touching them. And can you blame them? I mean, they've completely obliterated all competition, and the way that this match unfolded, I like the fact that they targeted... Well, in this match, it was okay when they targeted the knee of Kofi Kingston. After a while, when in the other matches they continued to work on the knee, it got a little old. But here in this match, I thought it made sense due to the fact that, Kingston came back from, he had surgery on his leg. So it would make sense for you to target, that area. And they really put a beating on Kofi Kingston. I mean, he took a tremendous amount of punishment. During one part of the match, it almost looked like he landed on his head. I think he did land on his head. I hope he's okay. And the Usos, they just really know how to lay those kicks in and make them look really devastating, and like they leave a serious impact. But eventually, Big E was able to get the tag and got a near fall by hitting the big ending. New Day were able to hit the midnight hour, but Jay pulled Jimmy out of the ring, and they broke up the pin. And when the finish came about, the New Day looked like they had the Usos number, but the Usos grabbed their titles, and they were counted out, and the winners were the New Day. So the New Day won, but they did not pick up the Tag Team Championships. Normally, I would complain with a finish like this, but I liked what I saw between these two teams. They seemed to have really good chemistry with one another. Like I said, this was a really solid Tag Team Championship match that just kept picking up. The near falls were good. Big E hit that spear. I thought, oh god, this is where he's finally going to get hurt, but somehow he didn't. You need to stop doing that spear, Big E, or else you're going to make the list. But this was a good Tag Team Championship match, and I want to see these two teams go at it again. So therefore, I think the fact that the way that the finish played about, it was done in, a manner where the feud will be able to continue. And that is something that I'd like to see happen. So yeah. These two matches had no problems with them, like I said. I know some people may gripe about the finishes, but for me, it didn't really hurt my enjoyment for both of these matches. Then we get into the women's title match, Naomi versus Lana. Lana looked really good. She looked alright in the ring. The match was okay. Wasn't the best debut for Lana. I think in time we'll have to see how she improves, but it wasn't the worst debut. She didn't really, make too many, if any, botches at all. I thought the match was just kind of there. It was an alright match with a teasing of Carmella cashing in, which I thought was interesting. To me, that was the highlight of this. It wasn't the worst match ever, but it, like I said, didn't really do too much for me. Still need to see how Lana does, over time. It's funny that we want Rusev chance in this match, so I thought that kind of made me laugh for a change. Where is Rusev? I hope he makes his SmackDown Live debut very soon. But Naomi locked in the modified rings of Saturn. Lana had no choice but to tap out, and Naomi retained her SmackDown Women's Championship. Nothing really too much to say other than, like I said, the match was okay. Lana didn't look too bad, but she did look damn good, if you know what I mean. Then we have a Fashion Files segment, kind of playing off the Miami Vice, if you ever watch that TV show. There were mystery attackers who would be revealed as the people that laid out Breezango. Later on in the show, it was revealed as not a new team coming up from NXT or a debut or American Alpha possibly being repackaged. It was revealed as the Ascension. Just great. I hope it's still American Alpha. I think they need to give them a shot as, repackage them as heels. Because really, I like those guys, and we have not seen them on TV for a number of weeks, and actually almost a number of months now. It's hard to believe. I still think in the long run it will be revealed as American Alpha, who attacked Breezango. I hope it's just not leading. It was the Ascension. I mean, that just kind of felt underwhelming in the match they had. It was just a match, so nothing really too much to say there. And we had the long awaited debut. It was rumored for months now that Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis Maria would be making her return. Mike Bennett would be making their debut. I thought it was a little cheesy, but I did like the music that they played for them. It was these power couple, kind of filling that role of Miz and Maurice. I think they'll do very well on SmackDown. I know some people, thought the debut was okay. I actually enjoyed it. I like the fact that they're pretty much making Mike Bennett totally whipped here because they're madly in love with one another, and he actually took her name. So playing up into the fact of she's pretty much, has her fingers around him, and I think this will be very interesting to see what type of role. Like I said, I think that will fill that void that was, happened as a result of Miz and Maurice leaving and going to Raw, unfortunately. But I think they'll step into that role and fill those shoes nicely. And let's see how they do. Like I said, it's a more fresh talent for SmackDown Live. It's great. I always thought Maria was gorgeous. She was one of my favorites back in the day when I first started watching in 2008. So to have her come back into the fold here, I think it's great. I think it's great for SmackDown. Mike Bennett, not really too familiar with him. I did see them at a Ring of Honor show way back when. So that's going way back, maybe even 2014. But from what I saw, I liked them. I thought they worked together as a couple. So we'll see how they do. But I think, like I said, it's a positive for the SmackDown Live brand. And then had this WWE title match, Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton. I know some people were saying it was better than the Backlash match, but I actually enjoyed their Backlash match better. To be honest, I'm not going to lie. Come up here and say it. I don't know if it was just the fact that I was really tired from my vacation or what, but I fell asleep during this match, and when I woke back up, I saw Randy Orton was beating the shit out of the Singh Brothers, which is always fun to see. He just loves throwing those guys around. But Randy Orton hit the RKO on the Singh Brothers through the table again, and as he got back into the ring, obviously being distracted by the Singh Brothers, Mahal kicked Orton in the knee and hit his finish for the win. So Jinder Mahal beat Randy Orton on back-to-back pay-per-view events. Like I said, I wasn't really too impressed with the match. I just thought it was okay. I thought their Backlash match was better. But the hometown guy loses, so I'm not really surprised that happening. So Jinder Mahal now will definitely we'll see where they go with him. As WWE champion, perhaps feud with the returning John Cena, because it's inevitable. John Cena coming back to get his 17th World Championship. It's only a matter of time. I mean, the story practically writes itself. John Cena, the American hero, conquering the evil foreign-born heel. It just, it's going to happen, folks. But yeah. Not really too much else to say about this championship match. Like I said, I fell asleep. Maybe it was just me, but oh well. And let's talk about this phenomenal main event. The Money in the Bank ladder match. Nakamura versus Kevin Owens versus Baron Corbin versus Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler versus AJ Styles. Really, really good main event match. Probably saved this show from just being, even more just an average show. I think this helped raise it to average to almost above average. I'm probably going with a C to a C plus for my grade. But this match was just, from the way it started, I loved how it started with Baron Corbin attacking Shinsuke Nakamura during his entrance. That put some nice heat on Corbin, and when Nakamura came back, the crowd was just going nuts. I thought Sami Zayn looked very good in this match. He had some nice momentum, looked like he might potentially win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Kevin Owens was just taking sick bumps in this match. There was just too many spots to recap, but there was one really nice spot where Sami Zayn was able to throw Dolph Ziggler spine first, or actually Ziggler threw Zayn spine first into the ladder, and eventually Ziggler attempted a super kick, and Zayn countered with the blue thunder bomb, so that was a nice counter there. And then when Zayn hit that sunset flip power bomb off the top of the ladder onto Ziggler, man, did that look so sick and cool. That was definitely one of my favorite spots of the match, when AJ Styles was hanging, like literally trying to climb up and maybe unhook the briefcase and fall down. Eventually he did fall down because the ladder was taken away from him. That was another memorable spot. When Nakamura came in the ring and it was him and Styles with the showdown, I was like, oh shit, we're going to get Styles Nakamura. They're going to go right here, right now. And to see them, they actually did touch and go back and forth amongst one another. And from the brief time there in the ring, it just made me crave to see those two go at it at a WrestleMania. And I hope that is the plan for next year. But eventually, as it looked like Nakamura was laying out people with Kinshasas left and right, just pure chaos and carnage. Sami Zayn looked like he was going to climb up to the ladder. And then Styles and Nakamura battling on top of the ladder. And then Baron Corbin strikes, the lone wolf, rears his ugly head, and he climbs the ladder and becomes Mr. Money in the Bank. So Baron Corbin wins the Money in the Bank ladder match. Had no problem with that. Like I said, really great main event. Definitely my pick for match of the night. And we'll see where they go with Baron Corbin. I think it's only a matter of time before, as I said, I think he's going to be a future WWE champion before the end of the year. So I thought, everybody really shined nicely in this Money in the Bank ladder match. I really enjoyed it, and it definitely didn't save the show, but it certainly increased my enjoyment of it. So if I had to give a grade for Money in the Bank 2017, I would give it a C. Going with a C grade. Average. I thought it could have been better. Like I said, I enjoyed the women's match, the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and the tag title match. But everything else for me was just kind of there. So that is it for my Money in the Bank 2017 review. Guys, I want to say thank you all for tuning in and watching. Remember, please click that like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to this channel. And be on the lookout for me in my next video, whenever that may be. So until then, guys, thanks for watching, and take care.